the body has the overwhelming ability to heal itself. And there's so many cases, case after case, that proves the resilience of the human body. It's not built to just stay there and lay down.
Right.
That is a mindset thing.
Welcome back to Candid Convos with Nurse E. Today I have a very special guest. You actually can call this probably part 3 of the Dare to Live Well challenge. But instead of being on his podcast, he's on Candid Convos with Nurse E.
Yes,
and so I'm so glad that you guys are with us today. You have been following him. You may have purchased his book. So we're glad that you guys are here so you can hear a different spin on things. What do you think? Yes.
Listen, I'm so excited to be here on Candid Conversations with Nurse Ebony. Thank you so much for making, you were actually our inaugural podcast on the Dare Champions podcast, and it was just amazing. Just the feedback that we got, and I think on the first day it was over, 2,000 views or something like that. So, but we were it was just confirmation from God, of course, right? That we're saying the right things, and we're saying things that people need to hear. And we're saying things that people are not talking about.
And we're saying things that people want to hear.
There you go.
You have an audience out here that wants to hear about, what else can I do if I have back pain and I don't want to take medication? What else can I do if I don't want surgery? If I don't want steroid injections, what other injections are possible? And you offer those services and you talk about those things in your book. So I think it's a really good thing. But before we just we're so comfortable.
I was ready to jump in. I was ready to jump in because I was about to just tell you something. But we're going to slow it down. But
I know you as a successful chiropractor that is in Harford County with 2 successful practices, a beautiful wife, children. You're an author of a book. I know the established Dr. Harold. So tell the audience a little bit about, yourself, how you got into chiropractic care, and then we'll jump in with what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. So, it's amazing. Sometimes I feel like I thank God every day. Just, chiropractor, 2 offices, one in Harford County, one in Baltimore, Northeast Baltimore County. And it's just amazing when you look back. I was a young kid, grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Shout out to New York.
Brooklyn, right? Tim's to my hooligan. So, it's amazing when I just think back on where I started because my parents I'm first generation American. I don't know if you know, but my parents, they immigrated here from Haiti in the 70s. And, they gave me values of just, taking good care of yourself, working hard, being successful. My father was a huge businessman in the New York community. He had about 5 different locations of travel agencies and things like that. So I always wanted to be in business, but I was always sick as a child. That's actually how I opened up my book, Dare to Live Well. And I started by just saying, man, you know what? What got me into health? I was always sick out of everybody in the family. The whole medicine cabinet half of it was for me. Right. We couldn't, I knew the pain of not being able to go to Disney World or not being able to play with your friends because you're sick or how it affected other people. So that created a drive in me to just learn more about the body. And, my high school that I chose was leaning more towards health professions. The majors that I chose at WVU would just be more, exercise physiology. I thought I was going to go into med school, but I never really liked the medication that I had to take, right? I always, and plus, back in the day, if you had the sniffles or whatever, your mom was like, look, you're still going to school. I learned, the hard way sometimes, but I learned the body heals itself.
It does.
And then once I looked up chiropractic and I looked up the basic premise of chiropractic, which is, the power that made the body heals the body, and the body heals from the inside out. And the interventions that most chiropractors will use are things that are working with the body so that it can just speed up the healing process or figuring out, okay, well, why is it not working correctly. And we'll get into chiropractic later.
Right.
But that's what led me to kind of lean more on that route. Even though I had the grades and I could have done, physical therapy or sports med and things like that. I just like the natural and the business side of chiropractic. And then, 16 plus years later, here I am.
Yeah.
And, still feeling like I'm brand new in it.
Right.
Feeling like I still want more. There's so much more of the message that still needs to get out there.
Exactly.
And that's why we're doing things like this.
Yeah. That sounds really, really good. And not even like knowing that your path and your purpose was already kind of set through, looking at your father and through being sick, people could take that and say, hey, I was, a victim mentality.
Yes,
but
exactly.
you changed it to be something powerful. You understand what I'm saying? And you took it and you ran with it. And now look at you 16 years later.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of times, and this is something, so if there's, I'm sure, there's plenty of younger people that maybe they're in high school or maybe just in college or maybe thinking about going to college. The path to success, when you see Nurse Ebony, when you see myself, the path to success does not come without adversity, right? The path to success, there was a lot. My parents went through a crazy divorce at the time. I mean, I was dead broke pretty much throughout my whole college years. Yeah. So I knew what it was like to have nothing and to not know, man, when is my next check coming? And, I knew what it was like to have your lights cut off and figure out, okay, well, how are we going to eat? And how are we going to stay warm? And how are we going to just, take care of us? All of the things. So it's like, I knew what that was like. And I came from that, and it just developed a hunger inside of me. Yeah. And let your demise be your motivation. Can
you say that again for the people in the back?
Yeah. Let your demise be your motivation. You may not have been born on the right side of the track. You might have had so many people tell you, oh, well, you know what? Because you failed this class, or because you don't have enough access to capital or anything like that, you can't get this building, or you can't purchase this practice, or you can't be a doctor or whatever. Right. Just don't let anybody tell you anything different than what God is telling you on the inside.
That's
right.
It.
So that's what you got to hold on to. Mm-hmm. And even if you're like Joseph, I know Bible. So even if you're like Joseph and you're in the pit, and all these negative things have happened to you, you never know what's on the other side of it.
You don't.
But you can't give up at that point.
No.
You have to just, even if there's one little inkling of hope that you have to hold on to that and to just keep on pushing forward with the dream that you have. Yeah. The dream of all the things that that God has told you to do. You've got to just keep on pushing.
You just got to keep pushing. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we could end on that.
Yeah. Okay. Collection plate. I'm out.
That was just a word in itself, and I think that can lead us into a preventative wellness mindset, because I really think that I had a client that I dealt with, sometime, and I said, what brought you back in? Because they were already a client. Yeah. And they had stopped treatment. And I said, well, what brought you back in? Oh, somebody called me. And I said, oh, okay. I said, so what's going on? Why did you, stop treatment and different things like that? And, well, it's a lot of times financial reasons. If you don't have insurance and or you don't have the finances. And I said, okay. I said, so what are you looking for today? He said, well, I want you to convince me that I need treatment. I said,
Lord help us.
I said, do what? I said, do what?
Yeah.
In nursing, they've always told us to have like a straight face. You know what I'm saying? Like a very straight face. So I had a straight face. But the nurse practitioner side gives me a little bit of freedom to say some stuff. And I said, I'm not going to convince you of anything.
That's it.
I said, this is your spine. You know what's going on and what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. You're going to make the decision. I said, I provide a service. You choose whether you want the service or not. Yeah. So when I say that, then they say, well, it's the money. I said, now that's the root of the problem.
That's it. Yeah.
You know you need the service.
Yeah.
It's no convincing. but we've got to address the root issue. And so with that being said, that client did not have a preventative mindset because those words would not have been said. So I guess my biggest question to you is, how do you help someone develop a preventative mindset? It seems like you already had it yay high.
Yeah. And I mean, that's true. Like, and even within my upbringing, I kind of was like, man, you know what are things that I can do so I don't get sick, so I can go to the park, so I can go here and there. That's a very loaded question. It's so important that's a whole chapter in Dare to Live Well. Developing a preventative mindset. That is a whole chapter.
How can you make it concise? How can you make it for our audience to be able to digest
I would say, for one, I would, if I could kind of chop it up in small pieces, you got to read the book, but if I could chop it up in small pieces, for one, let's talk about the urgency of a preventative care mindset. For one, this patient did not have any urgency to do something that was beneficial to his health because maybe he thought he was fine, or maybe there wasn't any pain. But we already know that, for one, pain is like the last ditch effort that happens when your body is, unable to handle the things on its own. Whenever the body is unable to compensate, or it's done with overcompensating, then that's when pain starts to develop. A lot of times with chronic issues. But however, the urgency in preventative healthcare is that we have a healthcare system that is designed around pain. So we have a healthcare system that is designed waiting for the body to start breaking down before you even think about going somewhere to see somebody, and then good luck with how the insurance is going to work, and if you can see the right provider, and if you have the right provider that's going to steer you in the right direction. So there is an urgency of knowing that nobody's coming to save you. You have to be your own boss. You have to be, when I talk about developing a healthcare dream team to kind of make sure you have people around you holding you accountable, you have to be the head coach. You have to be the CEO of your healthcare dream team to say, look, it's my body. Nobody's coming to take care of it. I have to take care of it myself. And not just the urgency of it, but what is the cost of preventative health, of having a preventative mindset? And what is the cost of your negligence? So when that patient, when he is no longer able to go to work, and when he is no longer able to play with his kids, or do things with his spouse, or live a good quality life, that is costing him something. And that cost of whatever condition that we're talking about is that it's or when it's getting more aggressive, it's always going to be at a higher cost. So prevention allows you to get into healthcare and allows you to do things at a lower interest rate compared to when you have to pay when whatever problem is full grown, right? So if we're talking about lower back pain, it's going to cost you way more when you have that sciatica and you can't move. You already took off work about 3-4 days, so you missed out on that. You missed out on other quality of life things. Now you've got to go, and guess what? You probably have to come more, right? Somebody in full blown, you already know. We can't treat somebody at one time a week and expect them to get better. They probably need to come 3 to 4 times a week. So that's costing you a copay. When all the time you could have just came in for a maintenance adjustment, or you could have came in for a preventative care visit to say, hey, look, you know what? This is starting to move out of alignment. This blood pressure is starting to get out of control. Let's start eating healthy. Let's start doing some different things. So the cost is always going to be more on the tail end than on the front end. So once they see that, I think hopefully that is something that if people just kind of write down what it would take, if they missed a week of work, what does that cost them? And then with that cost, take that cost of missing 1 week of work, now put it into your healthcare and put that into your healthcare budget. What can I do to prevent that from happening? That's the mindset.
And I just want to say something too. You said a lot of good things. He dropped a lot of gems, guys. But one thing that I wanted to say too is this client that I was working with, I think when you become, I don't want to say, well, I'm going to say sick, I'm going to say sick. Yeah. When you become sick and you have different chronic issues, it's easier to not want to address things. It's easier to not have a preventative mindset because it's like, well, I already have high blood pressure, or I already have type 2 diabetes that's led me to be on dialysis. I'm already on disability. I've already had back surgery. I'm already using a cane. So when you get that far down the line, I also think it's harder for you to develop a preventative mindset because the world has already painted a picture of, oh, well, I'm 57 and I have all of these things, so I'm old anyway. Yeah. I'm washed up anyway. Yeah. You know, when we have to reset a mindset of, you don't have to be 60, 57, 77, using a cane, using a walker, using a wheelchair. You don't have to have a toe amputated, a foot amputated, a leg amputated. Just because these are things that you may see around you, it does not equate that I'm getting older and I just get sick and these things just happen. Exactly. You're saying that, hey, it creeps up. Once you see it start to creep up, let's go ahead on and address it, because you either got to pay early or you got to pay later. Yeah.
And the cost is always going to be less when you pay early compared to when you pay later.
Exactly.
Right? In fact, even if you look at the expenditures in healthcare, they say, you know, we'll spend the majority of the money that we'll spend in a lifetime on healthcare sometimes is even in the last 5 years of your, you know, the last 5 years of life. So you said something that was real key, because you said some people are already, you know, stuck in a mindset of, well, I'm already in, I'm
already 40.
Got, yeah.
And you get the back pain.
And everybody, and, you know, one of the toughest things that I hear that I have to combat as well is people that are just apathetic to what's going on with their body, and people that are just saying, well, you know what? My mom and my dad had back surgery, so I guess I'm going to get it too.
Yeah.
Mom and dad had, renal failure or hypertension, so I guess I just have to deal with it too. This is why I stress later on in the book why you need better healthcare providers.
Yes.
And why you need providers that are not going to be apathetic and are not going to be a crutch to you to continue to live the life that is detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, and that's what I said, nobody's coming to save you. You can't put your well-being and your life in the hands of somebody else that really doesn't even care about your well-being.
Right.
Two, you've got to understand, and that's why something drew me to chiropractic, because the body has the overwhelming ability to heal itself. And there's so many cases, case after case, that proves the resilience of the human body, of the human spirit. And we can go into mind, body, and soul, but our human body is built to be resilient. It's not built to just stay there and lay down.
Right.
That is a mindset thing.
Yes.
Our mind tells us, I'm just going to sit at this gate, or I'm going to sit in this bed, and I'm just going to sit here and not do nothing.
That's it.
You have to get it in your mind to get up to say, I can live better.
Right.
And if you don't have a provider showing you something better, if you don't have a provider or a team around you saying, look, we're here to help you get better, and we're here to show you that there's a better way to live, then that's your first problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes their mind is like that because that's what they've surrounded themselves with.
Exactly.
Their team is nothing. Imagine if you were on a basketball team, you're down 30 points, and the coach comes in and just says, hey, look, guys, you know what? We played good.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah, let's be done with the game.
Yeah, it's halftime, people. It's halftime. You're down 20, your blood pressure's up, your back is aching, and all of this stuff is going on, and you've got a coach saying, hey, look, you know what, it was great, and you know you can beat the other team. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know you can beat the other team. Other people have beaten this team, but yet you're just laying down.
Right.
Why? You got a lousy coach. Fire your coach at halftime, get yourself a new coach, and see how much you can win. And when you beat that team, guess all the other things that you can beat after that.
We gotta shout, y'all. Come on. Listen, now. I'm trying to tell you.
But it starts with your mindset. If I'm on a team that's losing, for one, do you have a winning mindset? Give yourself a winning mindset, because if I'm on a team that's losing, I don't want to. If I'm on a team that's losing and I have a winning mindset, I don't want to be on that team. Either they got to fire the coach or draft me to a winning team.
That's it.
Right? It's either one or two options, but you're not going to see LeBron, whether you love him or hate him.
I'm taking my services down
Jordan,
to Miami.
Whether you want to say Jordan or, yeah, exactly. Right? Whether you want to say Jordan or LeBron, look, I'm not here to debate that, but he's an awesome player. You're not going to see Bron or Curry continue to stay in a losing atmosphere because their mindset is different. Mm-hmm. So that's how we have to think about health.
I'm a Curry fan.
Okay.
LeBron is good, but LeBron is great. Yeah. You know, Chef Curry, he stay cooking up something. You hear what I'm saying?
Sauce. Yeah, but either way, you've got to change, and you have to know that as long as you're alive and breathing, it's one thing if you're 6 feet under.
That's it.
When you're 6 feet under, that's when you can give up.
Right.
Because that's when there's nothing else you can do.
You're right.
But if there's still breath in your body, if your heart is still pumping, then you still have the ability to get well.
Yeah.
Your cells reproduce every 90 days. So why don't you just say, starting today, 3 months from now, I want to see how much better I can be.
Yeah.
I'm going to change the coach. I'm going to get a better healthcare provider. I'm going to get a better team of people that's going to hold me accountable.
Yes.
And I'm just going to change my mindset. And I guarantee you, if you change your mindset, no matter what condition you're dealing with, 90 days from there, see how much better you feel.
You're going to see a difference.
Yeah.
It's a promise.
Yeah.
This is a promise, guys. If you do something different for your health over the next 90 days, you will see a difference.
But it starts here.
It has to start here.
It has to start there.
It has to start there.
Yeah.
Everything starts in the mind.
Yes.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a decision.
Yeah.
And until you make a choice, a decision, and you shift your perspective, things will change. If not, they won't.
Yeah.
So,
and then, now, once you get the team around you, once we fired this bad coach, and now we got Phil Jackson, right? Okay.
You taking it all the way back. I don't even know if my viewers,
Hey, Google him. Hey, just Google him, okay? Just Google him. All right, or Pat Riley. I want to get I'm a Knicks fan too. Or Pat Riley, right? So now we've got now we've got a winning mindset coach. And what are the strategies? And it really boils down to three things. When you're thinking about a preventative health mindset, it's one, you've got to have the mindset. That's number one. But what are the strategies? Are we doing a triangle offense? Are we doing,
I formation?
No huddle, right? What's the strategy? What's the strategy to win? So now the strategy is, for one, we've got to incorporate some type of physical activity. There's so much science. There's so many benefits to just physical activity. And I'm not telling you to get up and run a marathon.
Right.
I'm saying give yourself 20 to 30 minutes of moderate physical activity, whether you're just walking around the block, doing something. Sitting on the couch is costing you, right? Sitting down and being sedentary. And here's to all of my people that are sitting and working from home. You sitting down all day, think about it like this. You're actually more sedentary. I know you may like working from home. Matter of fact, I'm jealous of all my patients that work from home, because I got to get up and work, because they need these. Like, I can't do this from home. So, right, I got to lay hands on people. So I'm like, man, how did I mess up? Well, I picked a career where I actually have to go to work. But I digress.
You should have become a nurse practitioner.
I know, I should have become a nurse practitioner, right? Okay? But no, that's okay. That's okay. I love chiropractic.
Right.
But anyway, it's like, if you're sitting down all day, think about it. We used to get up, drive maybe 20, 30 minutes, park, walk. Then you got to get up, go to lunch. Now you got to get up, go to the meetings. Now I have so many people coming in with lower back pain because they just get up, they just walk maybe 5 steps from their bed to the little home office, and they just sit. 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Now you go down, it's 4 p.m. You're in your 5th meeting, you're writing something, this is due, and you did not get up and move at least on the hour, or at least set a timer. So you can be preventative right there by just getting up and doing some level of physical activity, because your ergonomics, that is a huge contributing factor to a lot of times when people are dealing with pain and dealing with painful conditions. ergonomics is
really
up there.
big.
Yeah, it's up
I
there.
write scripts a lot for ergonomic desks, ergonomic chairs, for it to be submitted to insurance if possible, for them to at least have that set up at home. And if you have an employer that will allow you to have that type of desk, if they can get it for you as well. You know, I write, work notes, including that to help clients.
There you go.
You know, with that, you know what I mean? And just to your point about getting up and moving, I want to make a point about cancer. Mm-hmm. It is a anti-cancer modality to exercise.
There it is.
3 to 5 hours a week. I'm going to make a video about this, so we're not going to stay on this long. But just another benefit of exercising. Yeah. You know, mobility, it fights cancer. It's very, very important, you guys. Yeah. So that's really, really good.
Yeah, movement is so key. I mean, I think there's also a chapter, there's a huge section just talking about movement and the power of movement. Think about it like this. Your bodies were designed to move. Even your cells, there's movement all throughout the cells. Even if you break your body down to its smallest and most simplest form, which is the cell, there's movement in and outside of the cell. There's cells moving all the time. So there's things within the cells that are moving. So if you look at it that way, the body is always moving, whether you like it or not, because it needs to move to survive.
That's it.
So if you know that movement is that important, even down to your very core, why not incorporate that into your daily lifestyle and weekly lifestyle? And like I said, it's not about being a marathon runner. That's way down the line. But doing some level of physical activity goes far beyond. And that is that small price that you can pay compared to that larger price compared to when the body is breaking down because it hasn't been moving. Yeah. Right?
And just some examples of some easy ways to get some exercising in, as Dr. Roch mentioned, you know, you can get up and you can walk. Water aerobics, you guys.
There you go.
You know, swimming is perfect, but if you don't want to swim, get into water aerobics. These things may be covered by your insurance, and or you may be able to go to the YMCA or a local pool in your area and find out a low cost amount for you to be able, I don't want to say cost, a low investment for you to be able to do that. Getting on a stretch routine. So including a good stretch routine, then going walking, including a good stretch routine and then doing something in the pool. You know, Tai Chi is a good thing as well. So just some examples of, it doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be something.
It does need to be something. And anything that you track, you can kind of control and see progress with. So, I mean, now everybody with their watches and phones tracks your steps. I mean, back in the day when I was in college, you used to I did studies on, like I did a study with walking and how that would, make interventions for like at-risk youth and things of that nature.
Or is it like metrics?
We had to do that I did that for my master's, but we tracked it with kids wearing like pedometers and look it up. You know, I know I'm dating myself, but you had to put something on your shoe and, you know, we track your steps. Now our phones and our watches do that.
Yep.
It tells us, hey, we didn't move today or whatever. So just, you know, there's so many different apps. I don't want to say one is better than the other, but there's so many ways that you can just be your own coach in that point. And, you know, hey, you know what? I did 1,000 steps a day. You know, tomorrow I want to do 1,500 and just look for some park a little bit further from the door of wherever you're going to the supermarket or to your job. And then guess what? You're walking further and that's it right there. And just doing little things like that, you know, make a big difference.
Make a big difference.
Yeah.
So just in conclusion, you're saying everything starts in the mind. If we don't have the right coach, we need to get a new coach.
Yeah.
We need to surround ourselves with people who are motivated to help us. And we need to build a team that's going to tell us that we're still in the game.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we need to be urgent.
Yeah.
urgent with our health. We need to, take it seriously. When we see, okay, the blood pressure is at 130 over 80. Oh, no, them saying, oh, it's still good. No. There's some changes that you get that little ache in your back or the ache in your knee or the ache in your hip or the ache in your neck.
Yeah.
Go ahead on and jump on it, because either we're going to have to invest now or invest later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say about the preventative mindset?
In terms of just the preventative mindset, I think a lot of times, and I think you might have touched on it when you brought up the patient and, how they were just saying, hey, convince me. I think we get stuck in a mindset of just minimizing a lot of things that we shouldn't be minimizing. And when we get stuck in that minimizing mindset, then it's just a little pain. It's just my blood pressure is just a little high, and we keep using these little tiny words. And what that does is that those little small minimizing words, they tend to kind of eat away at the urgency of doing something major or doing something now. So we have to be careful of the words that we use to describe the things that are going on, because nobody says, oh yeah, I just got a little bit of cancer, right? What oncologist, if you sat down and you went and you got a, breast scan, prostate exam, hey, you know what, Ms. Jones, guess what? You know what? We found a little bit of cancer in the prostate and the breast, but you know what? Just go ahead and keep doing what you're gonna do. And you know what? Why don't you just come back in, 5 years, and let's see if it's a lot more. Then we can do something more aggressive. How crazy does that sound?
Crazy.
Right? So if that sounds crazy, why are you minimizing nerve pain that is shooting down your arm, or you can't even pick up something without it hurting, or you can't bend, or you can't go through one night's sleep without having pain or tossing and turning? So if it sounds crazy with that aspect, you look just as crazy to your body that is telling you, do something, because the pain is already showing up.
Right.
And the pain doesn't show up in the beginning, the pain shows up at the end. So if the body is knocking on the door, it's giving you all the signals, you have to do something.
Yeah.
You have to do something, or else you're gonna end up on the tail end of it, and it's not gonna be pretty, and it's gonna cost you a whole lot more.
Yes. All right, guys, I want to thank Dr. Rochland for coming in and talking with me today and talking with you guys today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this time with us. I'm going to give him an opportunity to give his handles and to also show his lovely book. So how can people reach you?
So people can reach me a number of ways. First of all, I already know this podcast is international. So let me just start with, my website for more information about me, to either purchase my book or even for speaking engagements or anything like that. Feel free to go to www.daretolivewell.com, 2. So daretolivewell.com. If you are in the DMV area, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. I have patients from, Eastern Pennsylvania, Delaware that see me as well. You can visit our website. It's msiwc.com, www.msiwc.com. And there you can find out more information about our office, MSI Integrative Healthcare. And we work with a number of different conditions. We have, a number of different natural therapies for people dealing with, degenerative joints, sciatica, back pain, lower back pain, neck pain, even neuropathies. We're helping people. We just started doing that and seeing some great results. So by all means, if you're suffering with anything, do not delay. I'd love to be on your winning team if you're in the area. So, hey, I can coach, right? And then other than that, I think I spoke about the book. The book, you can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. It's an amazing book. We talk about a lot more other things in there, but Dare to Live Well, The Ultimate Guide to Building Generational Health. That's a whole other podcast on having a mindset of generational health. Everybody says health is wealth, but what are we doing with our health, right? That we can build our health the same way we're trying to build wealth.
Yes.
I'm trying to build generational wealth, right? So that's it. And then, I'm sorry, lastly, on IG, you can follow me at Dr. Roch DC. Feel free to follow me there. I'm also on Facebook. And our YouTube is also the Dare Champions podcast. Just, look for my name on YouTube and you'll see the Dare Champions podcast. And you'll see Nurse Ebony on our first episode.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And he's also on LinkedIn
yes.
as well. LinkedIn as well. So there's a number of different ways to get in touch with Dr. Rochland. And so you will not be left hanging, guys. Okay? So remember that you were made on purpose. You have a hope, a promise, and a future that's attached to you. And until next time, you guys be blessed.